of the season, and then, of course, going to the Interlagos Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache for the final round of this 16th Midwest F1 season. Here we are now. 19 drivers on the grid tonight. Feels good to be back in it now. Just make sure that all my ducks are in a row here, which they should be. I mean, this might be a little loud, I'll admit, but, that's alright. Who will be our first driver out on track tonight? Well, I'll tell you while we wait for that. Here are the point standings after last time out in the Netherlands. Race Day 2016 has made his way back to the top end of the Drivers' Championship table. He currently leads this after winning last time out as well, 510 points. He actually finished second in Imola for the Emilia-Romagna, one in Canada, second in Japan, eighth in Italy, and then first place in the reverse direction of the Netherlands. He sits at 510. Fire Up Flow, who appears to have... actually has done quite well. Why Travis Scott is on the intermediates here for some reason. Not really sure what's going on with that, but... Thank you, Brian Mosser, for the race being dry. I hope so, anyway. We're out in the desert, after all, aren't we? Got the Mercedes of Race Day, our championship leader, making his way out on track. As for what it's worth, a very consistent couple of rounds for Fire Up Flow, despite not having won this season. Currently sits in second place, 488. Fourth place in Japan, fourth place at Monza, and sixth place in the Netherlands is his last three. Of course, finished 12th in Canada. Gottney Weave third, Shank fourth, Kate Thomas fifth, Shariah sixth, Ayahuasca seventh, Cam Tizzle eighth, Kelly Robb ninth, and Houdini rounds out the top 10. Those are your driver standings as far as the constructors are concerned. The Red Bulls still lead the way, 932 points over Mercedes in second, 812. Pretty tight battle there for the third position, actually. The Alpines in third at 797. The Visa Cash App Racing Bulls F1 team at 789. They're right in it, as well as the Saubers. That's at 756. That even still put the Ferraris in that mix as well, 713, as they in sixth. The McLarens in seventh. Eighth belongs to the Willies. Ninth is the Haas's, and 10th is the Aston Martin team. And I tell you what, it's going to be a fun one next season when we do go to 11 teams on the grid, 22 drivers. I tell you what, it's going to be quite fun to see that Cadillac team take to the grid. I don't believe immediately that they're going to be very competitive, but you know they got money. That's the thing. I think a lot of people are expecting Cadillac to flop in real life, but for what it's worth, that team does have money. Cadillac is definitely got some cash to be able to throw at this sort of thing. Out of the final corner now is going to be Race Day, heading down the pit straight to begin his first timed lap of the session. Let's take you for a ride right now. It's kind of a higher downforce circuit, this, considering that just this one DRS section, a lot of high-speed corners, and with that high speed, you need high downforce, as you can see through the first corner. That usually is a super fun one in the race. Through turn 2, a little bit of a heavier braking zone there. Not a lot of heavy braking zones on this track. It's going to be definitely a task for these drivers tonight to actually be able to conserve and, kind of harvest their energy tonight. As again, there's really no hard braking points in the track. This is, I think, by definition, the hardest, down to third gear, 120 kilometers an hour. And even then, just the one of them. Through turn 7 now. Fourth gear, maybe he took that a little bit slow, Race Day that time. You got to be careful with track limits on the way out as well, naturally. Into now the left-hander at turn 10. That one as well. Bit of a harder braking zone, but does open up quite well. Technically turn 11, this is right here. Into now the triple right-hander of 12, 13, and 14. 12 flat, 13 appears to be flat as well. 14, will that be flat as well? Yes, it is, and not only has he done that, he stayed within the white lines and continued to actually go purple sector 2. He has gone wide, exiting turn 15. Final corner of turn 16 coming up here. Back on the throttle. Down the pit straight he goes, and again, as you can already see, getting low on deployment across the line, 121, 914, and I do believe we are going to see faster laps than that from not only Race Day, but the rest of the grid, as there's Ayahuasca, 121, 511. That's got Race Day by half a second for the time being, 4/10. Nicky 64 third, the only other time to attempt so far. His teammate of Kate Thomas is on an outlap. We got the Astons, both of them actually. Element's going to be the first one round. Now let's see how he does around this final corner. Turn 16 and on exit down the pit straight and across the line. Looking like a halfway decent lap here from Element. He does go third, 123, 156, not bad. Second and a half off. He's probably going to put together better laps than that. Brian Mosser goes fourth, about 2 seconds off the pace. The Red Bull of Shankadelic goes within a tenth and a half now of Ayahuasca, actually. Great lap from him. Cali Rob brings up the rear for the times as that is 3.2 seconds behind, as I believe that's the Visa Cash App Racing Bull of, I want to say, is it Lancey? Yes, it is. Lancey making his way in through Sector 1 now. It looks like the McLaren of Brian Mosser has either gone off track. He is just avoiding traffic here is what he is, although that is the Aston Martin, I believe, of Element, who seems to have either gone round or is, yet he has gone round. So Element goes round. This is exiting turn number 3. I'm not rightly sure how he's done that. Must have tried to hook the car around a little bit too generously through turn 3, and the back end must have just gotten away from him there. But he'll have to go in and fit another set of tires here. Around the line now is the Mercedes of, well, race day is coming to the line, and I believe this is going to be an additional time lap now. It appears as if he's put 2 loads of fuel into the car ready to go here. He has decided that this is going to be a flying lap here. Got clear track ahead of him as well. We'll check back with him in a little bit. Right now, Ayahuasca is making his way down the pit straight. And I believe this might be a flyer here from Ayahuasca. I don't see the harvesting light on in the back. He definitely appears to be using the energy store. Scornsy 121.249. He's now topped Ayahuasca's time by about 2.5 tenths of a second. Ayahuasca making his way through turn 5 and then down the hill towards 6. And he is a tenth and a half quicker through Sector 1. So this is a flying lap then from Ayahuasca. Yellow flag for the Ferrari. I believe that's Gunner making his way through turn 10 and 11 there. Must have just gotten a little slippy going out of that. Does happen. On board now with Ayahuasca, making his way through turn 10, where the Ferrari seems to have just gone round recently. Back on the throttle, energy being used manually this time. You can see the overtake button. Of course, no DRS through that section of the track, although I don't really see why you couldn't. I think more or less why there isn't is just the fact that this is 3 right-handed flat corners in a row there. Ayahuasca was actually well to the inside through that. You know, I think maybe he could have, well, he's definitely invalidated there. Looks like he's going to cross the line and give it a go here. Ayahuasca to the line, and that was a 121.218, and that would have absolutely been put on pole, but he did invalidate coming out of turn 15, or rather kind of into 16 at that point, and that will be invalid. And not only that, he has invalidated this and next, so tough break there for Ayahuasca, and that will be the end of this run. Got the Red Bull of Scornsy into the pit lane now, got the McLaren of Fire Up Flow down the pit straight on his way. Should be a fun one, this. I mean, a lot of room to race on this circuit, naturally. Not only a lot of room to race, but when you think about, you know, just how fast and flowy this track is, it definitely rewards consistency, and those at the top of the grid will definitely find that, that's for sure. Fire Up Flow will be making his way to the exit of Sector 1 here. He does appear to still be on this hot lap, into the braking zone now. And this will be his first time on the board, and it looks like he is going to attempt to keep it. Just making his way now in through turns 10 and 11. Does appear to be still on it. Cross the line now is the Mercedes of Race Day, and Race Day has improved, has trimmed his previous time down by about 2 tenths of a second. Still 5th. So see, he still has some sort of ailment somewhere on the track. We're not quite sure where. We did see that previous mistake coming out of the final right-handed corner there of turn 14. He kind of got a little bit wide on the way. Or sorry, was that rather turn 15 where he had that mistake? That's kind of hampered his initial time to temp there. Fire Up Flow to the line. He's gone 8th, 122.368. Not bad. Finds himself middle of the pack for the time being. Ferrari coming out of the final corner. That appears to be Cali Rob. What does he have in store for us? And across the line for him. Up to 6th, 121.778. Improves by quite a noticeable bit there. Up to P6. Nicely done for Cali Rob. Coming around the line now, that's Element. And it looks like we're going to have a fair bit of traffic here into turn 1. Shame for Element, who's going to be right through. Sorry, this is Cam Tizzle. Cam Tizzle's teammate of Element. I was right the first time, and the second time. Looks like everybody was able to get out of the way for him. That's good. Definitely don't want any hampering of timed laps there. Lancey making his way up through Sector 1 now. He's not on a flyer, it appears. This is just an in-lap for him. We've got the Red Bull of Shankadelic. As a matter of fact, Scornsy as well, exiting the pit lane now. Down the pit straight now for Shankadelic, beginning his second timed attempt. Currently needs 4/10 to be able to get himself up to the top spot to top his teammate as Scornsy. And down the pit straight into that first corner. Let's see how he handles this one. Should be no difficulty here for the Red Bull. Got clear track ahead of him as well. Through 2, nicely done. In through 3, flat out, calm as you'd like. 4 and 5 coming up next. Uses a lot of curb to the outside. Tries to kind of flick his way down to the inside. Yep, I tell you what, that all looks good to me. Only 6/100ths quicker through Sector 1. Of course, there's not really a lot of places to make up time through Sector 1. It is, frankly, just about acceleration out of Turn 1 and then out of Turn 2 as well as that. And, I think maybe he did lose a bit going through that right-hander at Turn 4. He's kind of had a little bit of a moment there in between braking and getting on throttle. No big deal for him. I think this is still going to be a fantastic lap here for Shankadelic. 7 minutes remain. Across the line at Sector 2, 10th and a half quicker. He is about, I'd say, halfway there, being able to get to that top spot. But now this is where the real pressure comes in, because now it's more down to the setup, if anything else. Quick downshift going through Turn 15. And I tell you what, this still looks a great lap here. 6 minutes 45 remaining. Exiting Turn 16, down the pit straight and across the line for Shankadelic. That's a good-looking lap, and he's going to be about 2/10 shy. 1:21.454. Improves by 2/10. Still has 2/10 to be able to find, but for the time being, it's a Red Bull 1 and 2. Not bad at all for that of Shankadelic. Ferrari coming around the line next. That's going to be Gunnar. This appears to be a timed lap for him. He is going to be running out of energy store here right quickly, and as well fuel. Behind him is the Alpine of Cake Thomas. Still have yet to put a time on the board for Cake. Let's see what he's got. Gunnar improves all the way up to P7, now within 7/10 of a second of the top spot. That's a great lap there from Gunnar. Cake's first timed attempt goes up to P11, gets himself 1.2 behind the top spot. 9/1000ths between himself and Gottney Weeb for that 11th position. Coming around the line next appears to be the Sauber. It's going to be Travis Scott, 8/100ths quicker through Sector 2. Down the straight and across the line for Travis. Let's see what he's got, and he will improve only just up to 13th, 1:22.555. Improves by about 1/10 and a half there. McLaren into the pit lane, coming around the line is a Red Bull, and it is going to be Scornsy, 1:20.982. First of the drivers into the 120s tonight, as that is a super impressive lap there from Scornsy. And I wonder who, if anybody, is going to be the driver to be able to top that one. As even still, he was 2/10 of a second away from his teammate on his previous best, and that one is just, well, frankly, blown it out of the water. He's improved then by 2 3/4 I don't know. It might be a lock here for Scornsy at this stage of the game. 5 minutes remaining. We have, I believe, the other Williams rounding. There appears to be only one Williams on the grid tonight. Who am I looking at? Is that an Alpine? Yes, it is. Cake Thomas, who I think is going to be starting another timed lap. I don't think he's got the fuel. Let's see. Does he come in or does he stay out? And Cake Thomas will enter the pit lane. We've got a yellow flag of Ferrari into the gravel for Gunnar, and I believe by the looks of it, he was just getting out of the way for traffic. That's what that's come from. Aston of Element coming around the line. We've got a Mercedes coming up next. I believe is that, Race Day is actually beginning a timed attempt here. Edwin has entered the pit lane. Let's go along with Race Day, the reigning, defending, undisputed, and potentially additional champion. Not tonight. He won't have this wrapped up tonight, but he's definitely well on his way. Speaks to the absolute quality of a driver. That Race Day has been week in and week out ever since that initial season of F1 22. I mean, he has just been basically at the forefront of the pack every single week. He finds his way onto the circuit. And for what it's worth, just not only that, just continued success as well. He's almost never wavered. Of course, he didn't find his. He won that initial championship. Took a couple of seasons more to be able to get back into the go of winning things. But he has absolutely taken it in stride and has since done so exceptionally well to be able to keep on winning as he's done and as he continues to do. Making his way now through the final stages of the lap. 3 minutes 25 remain down the pit straight and across the line for race day. And I don't believe this is one going to be doing it. No, he's actually slower by a tenth and a half there. Unideal for race day, who now has to find his way back around, get in quickly to be able to get that car refueled, perhaps another an additional set of tires, and then one final timed attempt. We've got an Aston Martin down the pit straight now. That's Element into the pit lane. We've got the Haas of Drismic, who I believe is actually going to be starting a timed attempt here, as well as the McLaren of Fire Up. That's not Fire Flow. That's actually Brian Mosser on his outlap beginning his flyer. Down the pit straight into turn one. It appears now GSR Edwin is actually going to be on a additional time lap here on his way out. Race day, I forgot, as Drismic's actually just invalidated that. I forgot that Race day has, from time to time, he's actually gone and has decided to put 2 runs of fuel in the car, and I think that's what we're seeing of him here. Most drivers, they'll be more or less a one and done. Take the car out of the pit lane with the fresh tires, make you one lap, get your way back in, get down to fuel, a wing change if necessary on the front wing, whatever adjustments that you can make under Parc Ferme, which is not a lot, and then straight back out you go. And race day is actually still in the kind of habit of putting 2 loads of fuel in the car. Not many drivers still do that, and I think race day potentially even can feel the difference between a light fuel and full fuel. Because even then, that was not a bad lap from race day, but it was a tenth and a half slower, and now on minimal fuel, minute 45 remaining into the first corner. Let's see what he can do here. He does have, I will say, a hell of a lot of traffic ahead of him, and that was quite a snap of oversteer exiting turn 1. Through 2, looks solid, only just. Through 3, exits a little shallow. I think maybe could have taken it a little bit wider, maybe carried more speed. I don't know. I'm not the Division 1 champion. I could be wrong. 2 100ths quicker through Sector 1. I think he probably could have done that maybe a little bit better. Oh, lots of oversteer getting on the throttle, exiting 6, and that's going to be the end of his timed attempt. Does he have enough fuel to be able to try it again at the end of the lap? That has got to be the million-dollar question for that of race day, because that was a noticeable error that time. Edwin is going to be coming through the final stages of the lap now to the Sector 1 line. Across the line he goes, and actually 2 3/4 tenths better. Huge first sector for GSR Edwin, who needs 7 tenths to be able to take pole. Shankadelic making his way now across the line, only 6 100ths quicker through Sector 1. It's not been a good first sector for him. His teammate Scornsey is rounding off the final corner now, down the pit straight with 35 seconds remaining, and he's on his way to his final timed attempt. Well, the question again, is race day going to be able to find a time lap here? I believe he's going for it. Yes, it does appear that he is. Into the first corner, 15 seconds remaining. Edwin, this is the lap that I'm more interested in here. He has had a phenomenal lap so far. I think may even be on for pole at this rate. 5 seconds left, and across the line for Edwin, second place, and misses out by 2 100ths of a second of the top spot. Heartbreaking for Edwin, but what an attempt. Kate Thomas has gone 8th. The Red Bull of Shankadelic across the line, all he can manage is 3rd. Next up is the McLaren. I believe it's going to be that of Fire Up Flow. Yes, it will be. Across the line for him, and it's going to be 10th place. Ayahuasca is making his way through the lap now. Keep an eye on him, as always. The Sauber of Travis Scott has not fared any better, unfortunately. Lancey across the line, and as well as his teammate of Shariah. Lancey has managed 8th. The Ferrari of Gunner. Next up with ahead of him is that of Shariah. Shariah's gone 13th. Can't manage any better. We got the Williams of Weed coming up after him. And across the line for him, he's gone to 11th. Elements up after that. Sorry, that's the Aston of Cam Tizzle goes 5th. The Ferrari of Kelly Robb after that. But now it's Scornsey out of the final corner. Across the line for him, and he does improve. 1:29.11. And by the way, Ayahuasca now crosses the line 3rd, gets within a 10th of a second. All of the top 3 cars within a 10th of a second of the pole time. That is insane. But can race day play spoiler? No, it'll be into the pit lane for race day. And ladies and gentlemen, here is your starting grid. Scornsey the top spot, Edwin 2nd, Ayahuasca 3rd, all 3 within a 10th there. Kelly Robb 4th, Shankadelic 5th, Cam Tizzle 6th, race day. Tough starting spot for him in 7th, Gunner 8th, Lancey 9th, and Kate Thomas 10th. That is your top 10 starting order for this one. Good pull from Scornsey. But he is going to have a hell of a lot of company here off the start. I do not envy the position that Red Bull is going to be in, aside from the fact that it's going to be at the head of the grid. And so here's the rest of the grid outside the top 10. Cake Thomas 10th, Fire Flow 11th, Weeb 12th. Looks like to be a very competitive midfield here from Lancey on down to, actually for what is P16 is within a second there. Lancey, Gotney Weeb 12th, Shariah 13th, 14th Scott, 15th Drismic, 16th Element, 16th Nikki, 17th Nikki, 18th Mosser, and running at the grid P19 with no time on the board is that of Houdini. What an incredible qualifying session that was. Top 3 cars within a tenth of a second, and here we are now getting ready on the grid. And it is time now for the national anthem of Qatar. Interesting. Anyway, national anthem of Qatar is complete, and we await our appearance of the drivers on the grid for this evening's action from the Lusail circuit. I remember the initial Grand Prix that was had here. The second one, well, actually, it was interesting. The first one, remember, it was the big issue with the tires. You couldn't go longer than, 20 laps on a set of tires due to the, they would shred, wouldn't they? And, of course, we had the debacle in 2022, or was it? No, it was 23. It was the first year after the World Cup, and all the drivers kept passing out after the race due to the intense heat that was found. Formation lap now underway. Hopefully no drivers pass out in this. That'd be quite a shame in the virtual world to have a driver pass out, but here we are. Tires for this evening are as follows. The overwhelming majority of the grid have chosen the mediums for this occasion. Only 5 of which have actually decided to go hard for this evening. 2 of those in particular are going to be right tip-to-tip with each other, that being Ayahuasca and Cali Ra, both of which hard for now, on that second row. That's going to be a bit difficult, considering as well, I mean, we've seen Ayahuasca from time to time. He is definitely a driver that definitely prefers the off-tire strategy. That much we have seen. But as well to be that close on genuine pace with the 2 cars ahead, I think that might Is it a mistake? I don't know. I think he's going to get swallowed up here pretty quickly on this opening lap. Cali Robb, I think, is going to have the same initial problem. But what I will say is this race day has actually decided to go on the hards as well. And this is the stop here. 16 to 18 for hards to mediums. I'm going to assume it's the opposite way around there for medium to hards. Hopefully the game will give us another graphic. But big look here is going to have to... I think it's definitely got to be Ayahuasca, especially considering... he is on those hard tires. He will be able to follow in Scornsy into that first corner. Hopefully everybody gets away cleanly. There's plenty of room to race in these opening stages on the circuit, which is definitely helpful in our case because it does usually line up some brilliant racing. So we will have to wait and see and hope that everybody gets away well. Scornsy is going to be having the outside lane into that first corner. Edwin will have the inside on the medium tires as well. Ayahuasca will have the long way round. Cali Robb. Tell you what, none of these cars are really angled in towards each other. It definitely looks as if everybody's going to be quite content where they are as we just wait for Houdini to get to the back end there. Big race for race day. He's got a lot of ground to make up starting in 7th. Scornsy will lead the grid into that first corner. It'll be Edwin on his inside. Lights turning on, Ayahuasca in 3rd. Here we go then for the 12th time this season. Welcome to Qatar, and we are underway. It looks as if the top two have gotten away very, very evenly. As a matter of fact as well, Ayahuasca is being taken around the outside of Shankadelic as they make their way into the first corner. It's 4 abreast into turn 1, and it looks as if finally they kind of sort themselves out, only temporarily as they still fan out behind. That's the Alpine of Kate Thomas well in the middle of 3 cars there and did eventually as well get sorted. 2 by 2 they stack. Now heading through turn 3, Scornsy has the lead. He has managed to stay ahead of Edwin. Shankadelic up to 3rd. Cam Tizzle up to 4th, and now race day. Oh, he's been forced wide there. I think Cali Robb has tried to take him to the inside. He may have had to go wide just on precaution, and here he is again trying to dive to the inside at turn 6. He's not quite going to have it. About equal on the getaway then between Cali Robb and race day, and I tell you what, again, as the biggest losers that we were most likely thinking about there was Ayahuasca and Robb both being on the hard tires. Well, that's exactly what's happened. Scornsy has the lead, 0.3 of a second. Shariah and Drizmic were side by side not long ago, and it looks like Shariah's put the Haas to bed there. Half a second now, Scornsy leads. The game's not even telling me. 16 to 18, that's the pit window for the hard tires. Whatever the mediums is, we don't know. That is perfectly all right. Out of turn 15, down a little bit of a straight here. Shankadelic's gone quite wide, actually, there. That was noticeably off track. Ayahuasca's actually, I think, going to try to remain a little bit competitive here along the back end of Cam Tizzle as we make the way down the pit straight. DRS will be activated this time by. They won't have it until exiting the final corner this time by. Ayahuasca is going to try the left side of Cam Tizzle, not going to have it. Slides back to the inside. They're going to file in through turns 2 and 3 and the rest. Here's Nikki 64. May have a look there. That's a big wiggle from Drizmic on those hard tires. Maybe wanted to have a look around the outside at 2. Chooses to switch back to the left side. And Nikki 64 has made that one happen. Yes, he has. Nicely done then for the Alpine up to 14th. That was a great move to be had. As the grid now potentially has found themselves to be not necessarily mundane, but we've calmed down, and that's always a good sign. Travis Scott, however, as I can see, has unfortunately had to pit off that opening lap. I'm not sure what's happened with him, but something not correct anyway. 0.3 of a second for Kate Thomas back to Gottney Weave. This is making their way in towards turns 10 and 11 now. Again, I don't necessarily believe we're going to see too many moves be made out of here. Again, the game telling us the tire strategies. We still don't know what it is for the mediums, but I digress. Scornsy leads 0.6 of a second. DRS is quite powerful down the pit straight, but not as much as it used to be. I believe it's actually been shrunken. DRS begins only about at the start-finish line now, maybe a couple of 100 meters before. That, as a matter of fact, you can see the sign. That's not even 100 meters is what that is. There and then there. That is the distance, as DRS, I believe, was much further up the track in the initial proceedings, as Ayahuasca is going to get around the outside of Cam Tizzle into the first corner. Edwin had a small look at Scorns. He didn't have the gumption to make that one happen, unfortunately. As the rest of the grid files on through, I think maybe we might see something happen with some improved acceleration out of 2 and 3. Edwin still right on the back end of Scornsy, making his way now through 4 and 5, and then down into 6. 4.5 of a second the gap. Looking a little bit further back, I think Shariah might be on here for a move on Fire Up Flow. Fire Up might be stacked up behind Cake Thomas here in towards 6. And I'll tell you what, yeah, they are quite bunched up, but I don't necessarily believe that Shariah nor Fire Up nor Cake is at any sort of advantage here. If anything, Gottney Weave has actually lost about a tenth and a half. Well, not even a tenth and a half, only about a tenth to the back end of Gunner. That's currently belong in the 10th position is that of Weave. Bit of a slide there a little bit for Nikki getting on throttle. We do have, again, still just only a 0.3 of a second battle between the top two, making their way now through turn 15. And as you can see, it is right close, but I'm wondering how much will Shankadelic attack as well as Edwin. Shankadelic, is he willing to attack his teammate, or is he going to play a bit of the Checo Perez move here and play some defense on Edwin once or if he gets around him? Well, Edwin's going to be much closer, and I think he's going to have a fair look here into turn 1. I spoke a little bit too soon. It's still behind by about 0.2. Cam Tizzle wanted to have a small look at Ayahuasca, not close enough either. 0.2 for Fire Up Flow. He'll push out wide of the track a little bit there of the racing line. And yeah, nothing quite this time by. We'll have to wait and see. Oh, that's a slide. Oh, that's a slide there around for Drizmic. Well, that car had gotten out of shape getting on throttle, exiting 2. Went across the nose of Element, and Element unfortunately had nowhere to go by the looks of it. I'm hoping that Aston doesn't have any wing damage, because that was a noticeable type of contact. I'm not even really sure he hit him as hard as it looked. But, yeah, unfortunate for Element. Didn't quite have much of a decision there, I don't believe. In through the triple right-hander now. Scornsy has 0.4 of a second over Edwin. Shankadelic's actually gotten quite close to the back end of the Mercedes. We'll have to wait and see. A little bit further back, we also have Lancey to Race Day. Race Day is actually slightly struggling to hold on here. To that of Callie Robb for that 6th position. Out of the final corner. DRS active once more. As you can see, the top 3 file their way on down through. As was that Jake Elliott just hit a 58-yard field goal for the Philadelphia Eagles, up 24-20. 10th and a half again. Edwin is definitely closing in. I think he's basically just got to find a little bit of a rhythm here. Doesn't have to do all the heavy lifting in one go. He just needs to find the rhythm, and then eventually Scornsy will have to defend one way or another, and that could pressure him into a mistake. And Scornsy doesn't make too many mistakes, but if that's how if that's how I needed to do it, that's how I would. I think as well, Scornsy's car might just be better set up here for the corners downforce-wise. Since that DRS zone, he's gained back about 0.4 of a second. And as I say that, he's actually lost a little bit of time there through the beginning of Sector 2. Was down about 0.4 even, having having finished off Sector 1 about 6 clear of Edwin. 4.5 race day back to Kelly Robb. Hasn't quite made his way around yet, but we'll wait and see if something can happen on that front. Fire Up Flow is in this picture as well, trying to find Cake Thomas. Meanwhile as well, Gottney Weave has picked up a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Here's how the grid looks after 5 laps completed. Scornsy and Edwin have remained in the top 2 spots. Shankadelic 3rd. Ayahuasca has actually gained the spot back over Cam Tizzle, and I believe as well Kelly Robb. Kelly Robb has actually lost that spot. Or no, Ayahuasca's only lost 1. He started 3rd. Kelly Robb has lost 2. He started 4th. Finds his way down in 6th. Race Day has not made up any ground. He remains 7th. Lancey +1 to 8th. Weeb +3 up to 9th. And Gunner has lost 2 down to 10th. Travis Scott, the biggest loser so far, unfortunately, down 5 positions in 19th. Had to make a pit stop after the first lap of the Grand Prix. Not really sure why, but assuming damage, and that is the definite assumption is that's unfortunate for him. Still only about 0.4 of a second between Scornsy and Edwin. Edwin is holding on well, but what I will say is this. Keep your eye on Ayahuasca. Those hard tires might start to come into the picture here very shortly, as he has now got the top 3 firmly in sight here. And I think with a little bit of DRS and perhaps a little bit of luck as well, he could make a move on Shankadelic. think Shank has not been able to pressure Edwin quite yet with the DRS that he has been given. Ayahuasca, let's see if he can close in maybe even a little bit. What I will say is this, is that Scornsy has actually gained about a 10.5, 2 tenths on Edwin just that previous lap. Shank, actually even still, not even really in contention to make anything happen there. That's a shame for him, because again, it kind of looked as if he was going to have something. Well, here's Fire Up Flow. Does he dive to the inside of Cake Thomas? No, he's going to think better of it. I say unfortunately, but yeah, I kind of wanted to see him make the dive there, not going to lie. But he hasn't. I think just veteran stuff there for Fire Up Flow as well. Four tenths from Shank to Edwin. 4.5 tenths, even 4 tenths now from Ayahuasca to Shank. 4.5, 5 to Cam Tizzle. 4 to Rob. 6 to Race Day. And then 2.1 seconds back to Lancey. And then an additional 3 seconds behind him as well with penalty is that of Gottney Weeb. That's what the top 10 looks like for now. Of course, Race Day, as we say that, Grumpy Red 197. Hail Legends streams will be able to... Hang on, now I need to read this. Race Day was actually rather close there to Kelly Robb not too long ago. Didn't quite manage to get himself within the picture enough to make an overtake happen, but he was right there. What's today's date? Okay. I do not know. Still another 3 tenths from Cali Robb to Cam Tizzle. Got the line this time be 20 laps to go. Though a quick-moving race so far, I'm interested to see how the pit stop strategies will play out. Having it really only just be a two-tire race this one, I don't think the softs are going to be used at all, necessarily. That would be my guess. Tell you what, though, Edwin has actually gotten a little bit closer to Scornsy on this lap. Now finds himself within 3.5, making his way out of turn 10 and in towards 11. Tell you what, that Mercedes looking pretty good. He's got Scornsy in his sights. Might even pick up the slipstream here heading into the triple right-hander. We'll have to wait and see. I don't think Scornsy's had the best way through. I think he's had to lift through that first section. Oh, Edwin's gone wide. And a 3-second penalty as well for Edwin, just when you thought he was knocking on the door. That's so unfortunate, and now that brings Shankadelic into the mix now, exiting turn 16, and Shank's going to have a very fair opportunity to get around Edwin here. What I will say, that Mercedes is quick, but that Red Bull is right within the slipstream. Heading into the first corner now. Shank is actually going to choose not to make any sort of move there, nor will Ayahuasca on Shank. Not even sure if doesn't have the choice, more or less. Wasn't quite close enough, unfortunately. 2 tenths now, and Ayahuasca, I tell you what, he is right there. Any sort of error for Shankadelic, and that Sauber is going to be right there, isn't it? 20 laps to go, and we kind of figured at some point those hard tires were going to get into the picture, and I think we're going to start looking at that very shortly here. And I say shortly, I'm talking lap or two, maybe. Very clean race so far among all those involved. We'll have to wait and see. Not just only the one unscheduled pit stop for Travis Scott after his, what I believe, incident on the first lap, which forced him to pit. Two and a half tenths of a second here. Ayahuasca. Was that Kelly Robb almost having a look at Cam Tizzle? Yes, it is. He didn't quite get there, but that was right in the wheelhouse there. Anyway, Nicky64's got a 3-second penalty now. Unfortunate for him. Third penalty victim of the day. Down the pit straight they go, and Shank is still not even relatively remotely close here. But Ayahuasca, this will be the time for the Sauber to the inside. Oh, and again, he just doesn't go for it. But will he now, as we have Nicky64 is off at the back. We've got a yellow flag exiting that final corner is now as well. We watch along with Cam Tizzle. Good battle between Ayahuasca and Shank. And Kelly Robb's in this as well. I tell you what, things starting to heat up here potentially. That Red Bull got a little shaky coming off of turn 2. I thought Ayahuasca was going to have a look, and he didn't quite have the opportunity to make that happen, unfortunately. Four-tenths still. Edwin to Scornsy. Race day within the picture now. I tell you what, for the lack thereof of overtakes that we have had, I tell you what, it might start heating up pretty quickly here. Top 7 cars. Only within 2.5 seconds here. Not bad. Kelly Robb trying to defend from race day now. Race day right up against the back end. As Ayahuasca's got a 3-second penalty, and race day is going to go wide there as well. I tell you what, looks slightly difficult. Let's see. No takers for pit lane this time quite yet. That's right. I forget the entry to the pit lane is way up there now. It used to be back around before turn 16. Not anymore. Ayahuasca to the inside, and we get our first really true overtake in quite a while, I must say. Up to third now for Ayahuasca. Good stuff for him, and I think he's really going to get himself in the fight here for the top spot here very shortly. Brian Mosser's got a 3-second penalty now. Heading in towards turns 4 and 5. Scornsy still leads 5.5 of a second. Shankadelic not far behind. Race day, I tell you what, right to the back end of Kelly Robb. I wonder if Kelly Robb maybe got out of shape there and race day got closer. You know, something of the sort. Race day was nearly colliding with the back end of Kelly Robb that time. Not quite. Top 7 cars still. Total procession making their way in through Sector 2, but still I have a feeling business is about to pick up here any moment. Ayahuasca, by the way, 2.5 behind GSR Edwin. Might get interesting here for the second position as Scornsy continues to peel away for the time being. I tell you what, the pace being put still on these guys with the medium tires is actually quite impressive. I would have thought maybe they would have degraded to the point of those hards being the preferred compound. Not quite yet. I mean, I would say this or next time by we'll see that definitely take effect, as there go the top 2 into the pit lane. Scornsy on the way, and I tell you what, he only just got that car back down, as well as GSR Edwin. But Ayahuasca to the top spot. We do have, it doesn't appear any legitimate moves in towards down the pit straight, but we do have a mess of cars into the pit lane. Hards for everybody involved. You get some hards. You get some hards. You get some hards. You get some hards. Goodness me, it's like I'm the Oprah Winfrey right about now. All these hard tires going on. Everybody has made that decision. Ayahuasca now leads Shankadelic by 0.8 of a second. Shankadelic, remember, started the race on the hards, on the medium tires. As Kelly Robb started the race on the hards as well. Race day up there. Gottney Weeb has actually decided to stay out. You can see those mediums are looking pretty worse for wear right about there. I would assume everybody else that is still yet to pit from the medium tires is going to be in probably at the end of this lap. Those things do not look good in the few instances of tires I was able to actually have a look at. Rubber being picked up there for Kelly Robb has immediately gotten rid of it. As you can see just on the mediums. Yeah, look at him. Beat to absolute shreds there. Got a lot of cars kind of backed up here. Past that 12th position, Kate Thomas might be able to have a look at Brian Mosser coming up here relatively soon. Brian on those hard tires as well. Shankadelic into the pit lane. One of the few drivers remaining on the mediums to make the stop. As Edwin's got a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. I believe that's actually going to be his second infraction there. Yes, it is. Up to 6 seconds of penalty for Edwin. And the driver that, you know, initially looked like he could have been on pace to have a win in this race. It's going to be a hell of a task now. It's one thing to pick up one 3-second penalty, right? Because at that point, you kind of look at it and be like, okay, the slate is wiped clean for the time being. And then you go on and pick up another one, and now the task has gotten all the more difficult. As Scornsy and Edwin side by side through turn 2, look at this, wheel to wheel they go, and Edwin is going to have better acceleration off the corner, and he's going to get that position. And somehow, yeah, Edwin has been able to take that one cleanly over Scornsy. Nicely done there for the Mercedes, but now it's just a matter of negating that penalty that he does have. Is, oh goodness me, that was a total hospital pass thrown there by Dak Prescott. Anyway, about halfway through this race, not quite, a couple of laps time will have that be true. Race day, 0.8 of a second. Still assuming that even some of these guys in the hard tires will have a stop here relatively soon. Maybe within the next 4 or 5 laps or so. I think anything more would be slightly silly. Once again, not quite as many moves into the corner. Scornsy now is going to pick up 3 seconds. That's on the exit of turn 15 there. Bit of a shame for him to have picked up a penalty. That kind of gets him back within striking distance of Edwin now. Although what I will say, Scornsy makes his way to the inside and around Edwin rather easily. That's the power of DRS, or the lack thereof in that instance. Still a good battle amongst the top 3. I mean, Ayahuasca leads Cali Robb 0.8 of a second, who leads race day only about 7.5 tenths. Still kind of wide open here as well, considering all 3 of these drivers on those hard tires. Oh, and oh, goodness me, the players are running into the refs now. Okay, anyway. As the ball comes loose, and I believe it's going to be Eagles' ball. Close game, I tell you what, for Philadelphia being as good of a team as they are, kind of expected to be more of a shellacking here against Dallas, who nobody likes. That's okay, though. Seven-tenths of a second down the pit straight now. Cali Robb leads. Or, sorry, Ayahuasca leads. Cali Robb trails by 0.8 of a second. As we still wait. Well, it's a 20-second gap from the top spot of Ayahuasca down to Element in 4th. Element is pitting now, so Scornsy will retake that 4th position. And I would assume he is going to inherit the lead of the race as well. Once these guys pit, we are halfway through this Qatar Grand Prix. And again, I just wonder if we do see any of the representatives of the hard tires make a stop here, and I don't think that we will. Although Lancey appears to have gotten around Gottney Weeb. Yes, he has, exiting turn 2 now, wheel to wheel. Heading in towards turns 4 and 5. Weeb still on the inside. Oh, he's got... I don't know about that one. He's hit Lancey out of the way as well. From my angle, I'm not entirely sure, but I think Weeb may have been all 4 times. Oh, and look at this! That's not good. Oh, that was really odd. Really, really odd there. So Weeb was on the outside. Okay, let's backtrack. Going in through turns 4 and 5, Weeb was on the inside. Had all 4 tires under the white line in through turn 4. Kind of hit Lancey out of the way. I don't think on purpose, not necessarily. In towards turn 6, Weeb is on the outside. I'd say ahead of Lancey, and that V-carb went completely straight on. That's, don't really know about that one, because unless Lancey had a hell of a lockup, there was really no business to have both of them gone that wide exiting turn 6. It's a very slow-speed corner. And we mean slow speed. It is the slowest corner on the circuit, right? We'll come up to it in a second here with... We'll watch Scornsy go through it. Now that's where it initially started, with Weeb having gone inside the white line. In through the corner, I mean, there's just no realistic scenario in which that V-carb should have drifted that far out wide on the circuit, and there's not really a scenario as well where they should have continued to lock tires and both push on wide. I don't know. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but that was very odd, if I say so myself. I've seen some odd things. That was odd. Mickey 64's got 3 seconds of penalty now. I believe that's up to 6 for him. Potentially more. Yep, 6 seconds. Ayahuasca stays out. I believe we're going to be seeing the hard tires pit very soon. And there goes race day. 20 seconds ahead of Scornsy. This is very interesting now. We'll see the... kind of the pit lane time here, I believe. He's not going to exit out ahead. of any of these drivers involved, but he will now be on the mediums, which is by far the quicker tire. Here's the gap. He's going to exit. I believe that's about a 28-second pit time there. And he has ended up back in P7, where he has been pretty much the whole race so far. 2.5 seconds behind to Cam Tissell and eventually Shankadelic. Nicky 64 has unfortunately just retired from the session after having picked up a 10er speeding into the pit lane. Not fun for him. Oh, Ayahuasca into the gravel. No, Ayahuasca's DNF'd. What's happened here? Oh, I hate to say it, but I think he's just done that on track. I don't think he's actually hit anything. No, he hasn't. That car is, I believe, still moving. Oh. Where is he going? I don't actually know. Yeah, that car is definitely still moving on the circuit. Ayahuasca has retired on track. That car had some sort of error coming out of turn 7, I believe it was. Went into the gravel, and he called it quits right there. And he was, I think as well, on pace to at least have a podium here. And he's decided to retire, not even in the pit lane, but on track as well. Unfortunate to say, because that's pretty much... I'm not going to say it's handed the race to Scoresy. I think Scoresy was probably going to have a fair look at winning that one anyway. But Ayahuasca was there. The line this time will be 10 laps to go as the football game enters a weather delay with severe thunderstorms, unfortunately. So 0.6 of a second the gap between Scoresy and Edwin for the top spot. Of course, Scoresy with a 3-second penalty. Edwin on 6 seconds. So at the moment, that might even belong to Cam Tissell if he plays his cards right. He's got to be able to continue to put together some good laps here because he's the two cars ahead of him are starting to fade away into the distance rather quickly. And I think if he is able to stay within this window, he will have a fair look at actually winning this race. But he's got to stay right there. He's... let's look at the interval now. 0.4 of a second away from being able to take this win, following those penalties to be applied. I think what's going to help him is that if Edwin decides to battle Scoresy here, that will absolutely give Cam Tissell a shot. I don't quite believe, for the time being, I'm not entirely sure Cam Tissell has the outright pace, especially as well considering he's going to have to defend from Shankadelic as well. He does not have any DRS to the car ahead. It's a bit of trouble here for Cam Tissell. And as well now, here comes Shankadelic to the inside. And he's going to make that one happen. And as well as Edwin was about 1.5 tenths away from making it happen there on Scoresy. As Edwin was right close that time. Cam Tissell still in this picture as well. It appears Race-Day's actually gotten around him as well. Race-Day's got himself in this battle now. Kind of had some questions in the pace of Cam Tissell. Race-Day's also overtaken the Aston in that same kind of go-about there. And he's dropped himself down to 5th, unfortunately. .5 of a second between Race-Day and Shank. And I think maybe outright on pace right now. I think Race-Day's got to be the quickest driver. He's got the fastest lap as well. If he gets ahead of Shank, this could be Race-Day's win. I would firmly believe that. And as well, Fire Up Flow will be losing out on points as well. Considering he's down in P7 and he is, quite frankly, running out of time to be able to stay within this championship battle. Down the pit straight they go. Race-Day had a quick look there on Shank. Maybe we'll now try the outside, and yes, he does. Race-Day is now in position. As Edwin again gets about within 1/10 of Scoresy at the braking zone and just can't make it happen. Three seconds. Race-Day up to Edwin. And as well, with those medium tires, that time will be falling rather quickly. And Edwin still, I tell you what, Edwin has not given up on this battle with Scoresy here for the top spot. I think as well Edwin knows one additional penalty, and it's even game. But even furthermore on that, they are both going to be losing out position on race day if it continues. So potentially will Edwin play a bit of a team game here and decide to help race day along in the proceedings here in a win that he could potentially get. I'm going to assume that's going to be the case. Still half a second. Have a look at Cali Robb really quick. He's a couple of tenths away from Cam Tizzle. Cam Tizzle's Aston looks a little unsettled for the time being. Cali Robb may have a fair look here. In towards 16, at least with DRS activated. I tell you what, I think maybe that Ferrari's going to have a good... Oh, and the Ferrari's gotten loose. Yes, he has. He's gotten on throttle, exiting 16. Maybe going over the curb, and that car really got unsettled. And now drops like a rock. And here's Cam Tizzle to the inside of Shankadelic now. Cam Tizzle back up to 4th. He could be looking at a podium here. Once race day, I guess with the time penalty applied, overtakes Scorsese and Edwin. He is going to be right on it, that Cam Tizzle. And as well, Cali Robb now to the inside of Shankadelic. Look at this going on for that 5th position, and Shankadelic in the 5th spot. Brian Monster now has got 3 seconds. Courtney Weeb's going to get around Kate Thomas going through 4 and 5. I'll tell you what, suddenly it's starting to pick up here. Couple of moves being made. Good to see. Three-tenths of a second still. Cali Robb back to Shankadelic, and still we look and see race day is in position, trying to hunt down Edwin and Scorsese. And Edwin is still not entirely in position. Shankadelic's going to get 3 seconds. That's unfortunate. Edwin still struggling to firmly clamp down on Scorsese here, as race day now gets within a second of his teammate. And this is a potentially 2 or 3 car battle for position now. Cali Robb gets around Shankadelic. Cam Tizzle doesn't have DRS to the car ahead. That might be a problem for Tizzle in following laps, but for now he remains okay. Lancey to the inside of Fire Up Flow, and he'll take that 7th position. Remember, I still think we may have a steward report on the way for that incident between Lancey and Weeb. I don't know if anything will come of it. I don't even know if a steward report will be on the way. But that one was a little bit sketchy there, so if in doubt, most likely a report will be made. Potentially, no guarantees. 4/10 of a second now, Edwin to Scorsese. As Travis Scott will get his first 3-second penalty of the day. By the way, race day now, even still, will be in control of this race after penalties applied. And I think, unfortunately for Cam Tizzle, even if he is in this 4th position, he'll only go up to 3rd. Which I think actually still be a good result for him, but I think he definitely could have been wanting more, and potentially thinking he could have had more. Seven laps to go at the line this time. Exiting the final corner down the pit straight. Race day is now closer to Edwin than Edwin is to Scorsese. So I think, honestly, Race day, as much as he's going to try, and as much as I think he's got the talent, I don't believe he's actually going to be able to outright overtake Scorsese for the lead, to be able to actually cross the line first, as Cali Robb is going to set back Cam Tizzle there. He's up to 4th. Potentially will Fire Up Flow have a move around the Dutchman Delancey? Yes, he will, to the inside. And up to 7th now for the McLaren. Got New Weeb right on the back end of Lancey as well. Fireworks could be present here. It's certainly possible. Just floating that idea into space. Potentially we get some further ongoings between the two. Four-tenths of a second now, race day to his teammate of Edwin, and I wonder if Edwin is actually going to cede position to him here. I would probably assume that he will. But still, I mean, there's no guarantees. 3/10 of a second, race day to Edwin. through turn 16 now. Cam Tizzle, 3-second time penalty, and now the race is pretty much on immediately for everybody involved, as there's Edwin down to the inside. Race Day will take that position, potentially, eventually, side by side into the first corner. And yeah, Race Day has eventually gotten around him, but that one took a little bit longer. Yeah, Cam Tizzle with a 3-second penalty. It's even Stevens between everybody now as we get a yellow flag going through the first corner. I don't really know what just happened there, but somebody was going slowly or something. As Lancey back on fire up flow now. Lancey back up to 7th. Gottney Weeb does have 6 seconds of penalty. Lancey, I don't believe will be actually gaining anything, despite having no penalties here. But if anything, he's done a great job battling and defending against fire up flow here. It's been a great race between the two of them. It's a shame that this couldn't take place for the 5th position or higher. Oh, huge lock up there on the back end for fire up flow. I think he may even lose a position to Weeb and Cake if he's not careful. 5 laps to go at the line this time by. Race Day 0.3 of a second away from scores, and I think DRS might even be in the picture here for the Mercedes, and I think he may ride off into the sunset, barring anything incredible happening. Scornsey still on 3 seconds of penalty. He will keep the 2nd position once that happens. Edwin will fall down to 6th. Kelly Robb up to 3rd. I believe Kelly Robb up to 2nd. Cam Tizzle up to 3rd. Sorry, that's not right. Race Day to 1st, Scornsey to 2nd. Kelly Robb to 3rd, Tizzle to 4th. Shank to 5th, Kelly Robb to 6th, I believe is how that will work out. Race Day was not able to make the move down the pit straight, as Fire Flow has gotten Lancey back again into turn 1. Again, great battle happening between these two guys. As well, considering no penalties between either of them. This is an outright dogfight here. For the 7th position, it's gone very well. There's only just the 2 DNFs in today's Grand Prix. Of course, it's not over yet, but Nicky64 earlier on had 6 seconds of penalty, went into the pit lane, picked up a tenner for speeding, unfortunately, and retired in the pit lane. Ayahuasca had made a genuine mistake, which is not something we see out of Ayahuasca very often, but what we did see was him retire on track, which, well, if you're listening to this, don't do that, is what that's about. Yeah, just don't do it, honestly. Still 0.2 of a second. Race Day. Here he goes. Down to the inside. Has a look at Scornsey. Still there. And finally powers underneath and gets the top spot on Merritt as well. Good stuff there for Race Day. He is, I tell you what, for the mountain that he's actually had to overcome tonight, he's been one of the few drivers to actually make that off strategy work, having gone hard medium. We didn't, oh, goodness me. Oh, and Weeb into the back end of Lancey, as Flo goes wide and is now going to be losing position to Cake Thomas if he's not careful. I don't really know what happened there into turn 1. Flo was well wide of the corner. Lancey to the inside. Weeb was late on the brakes and almost got into the back end of the V-carb. And so Lancey up to 7th and will be uncontested for the time being, at least on genuine position, as Gottney Weeb has got that 6 seconds of penalty and Fire Flow has now fallen behind. But I tell you what, nearly some carnage there unfolding between those 3 or 4 drivers. Half a second now between Race Day and Scornsey. Just wondering if any of those drivers in the top 6 cars will actually pick up an additional penalty. And we'll get some shuffling about in that order, because again, as well, these guys are all battling for outright pure position now. Shankadelic only 0.3 behind Cam Tizzle for what I believe will eventually be the 5th spot, or 4th spot. And there goes Shank to the inside, so we'll have that one made. Good move there for Shank. So he'll actually go up to 3rd. No, he won't. He'll go up to 4th once the penalty is applied to Edwin. And actually, for what it's worth here, Edwin is... See, Shankadelic's... Oh, that's unfortunate. I was about to say, Edwin was almost on pace there for being able to keep a spot or two, potentially, as there was a 4-second gap between Shank and Rob, and then an additional, about a second between Edwin and Rob there it was temporarily, and he's gone off track again, and that's pretty much signed and sealed in blood his fate right there, unfortunately. Two laps to go with the line this time. Still looking to see if anything results in this battle here between Lancey Weeb and Fireflow. Flo was able to stay actually ahead of Cake Thomas. Hasn't been able to re-challenge the Williams, although I don't believe is necessarily in the mindset that he needs to. I think, again, the biggest battle on track is still that fight for what will eventually be 4th place, I believe, between Cam Tizzle and Shank, as it's only half a second between these two. Of course, penalties applied. Kelly Rob's going to have a look to the inside of Edwin, however. He may take that 3rd spot on merit. Yes, he will to the inside, and Cam Tizzle's going to get around Shank. I'll tell you what, great battle going on here between these two. Still 0.3 of a second. Back and forth it has been between Cam and Shank here, and I think as well, Shank's going to get him probably again next time by. Considering, his Fireflow's actually gotten around Gottney Weeb there. Yes, he has. Oh, Weeb's missing a bit of front wing. Yep, he's missing the end plate on the right side. I didn't initially see that, but he is definitely missing front wing now. It's been a back-and-forth battle between Shank and Cam, especially considering there's just the one DRS section on the circuit, and the car ahead will not have it at any point. You know, considering they're both outside of a second, actually 3 seconds. So the car ahead is, I tell you what, Weeb is struggling now. What has gone wrong here with Gottney Weeb? He is lost the front wing and is now just outright ceding positions to the cars ahead. Unfortunate, but as well, not trying to hold up Cake as he, was in that battle genuinely. Final lap of the Grand Prix underway, as race day has been commanding this whole time. As here we go now, a battle for second really quick. I didn't actually realize Kelly Robb was that close to Scornsey. As Weeb now up to what I believe is 9 seconds of penalty. Yep, Kelly Robb to Scornsey. This is for the second position outright here. The win is in favor of race day, barring a miracle. But Kelly Robb is only 0.3 of a second away. Could this one be made possible for Kelly Robb on this final lap? We'll have to wait and see. He's not going to get much of an opportunity, as well, considering he won't have DRS again. The big news here is Fireflow is going to be taking a heavy hit on points. We'll have to look and see the total after this week heading into next. Race day will not have to do very much at all to claim what I believe is his 5th Drivers' Championship. But if in any, I tell you what, this is a win today that race day has genuinely had to work very hard for. Didn't qualify very well. Qualified what, P7 it was? Tire strategy didn't initially look in his favor. But time and time again, as Kelly... Oh, Scornsey's gone off. Well, I apologize. Scornsey's actually got a puncture. Race day's going to win the Grand Prix. Kelly Robb finishes second. Cam Tizzle will get third. Scornsey crosses the line 4th as he's got a puncture on the left front. Well, we didn't see that happening, and so unfortunate for Scornsey just to be able to not hold on, only barely. He did everything in his power to be able to make this one happen, and he's just come up short in that conservation effort of the tires. You could see, heartbreaking there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us today from Qatar. Be sure to join us next time out when we hit Austria in... Well, it's not next week, is it? What is next week? I believe... Oh, we hit the Jeddah Corniche circuit in Saudi Arabia for round number 13 of the season for Hotspot. It's been a pleasure. Congratulations to race day. We'll see you next time. And sorry, actually, as I read this now, Ayahuasca actually had a puncture that said put him in the gravel, saying he couldn't even get the car out of the gravel, and that's actually why he's retired. We didn't see that initially.